And welcome to the fourth official episode of Love the Culture podcast. My name, as always, is Chris. You're one of your three hosts for tonight. Tonight, I'm joined by Joe.
Hey.
And Nick.
Hello.
Welcome back, guys. How you guys doing?
Good, man.
Pretty good. Fine.
It's Thirsty Thursday, so.
Thirsty for some Overwatch levels, am I right?
And some Red Bull.
Yeah, some Red Bull. Red Bull would be pretty fantastic right about now. Alright, so what have you guys been playing this week? Or past 2 weeks for you, Nick, because it's been a while since we've actually seen you.
Well,
Ooh.
For about 5 days I played nothing because I had terrible sunburn and just potato on my couch.
We're in hell.
But when I didn't, I actually was playing Witcher. Like, other than Overwatch the other day. I played a bunch of Witcher last week. Witcher 3 because it was on sale during the Steam sale.
Nice.
I'm loving it so far. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, and I need to, learn how to play it a little better in terms of, potions and stuff and all that. But I have enough time to put into it that till the end of the game that it's fun though so far.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those games that you have to take the time to learn the game and how it works. But it feels very rewarding.
I mean, the definitely first few levels, were a good introductory to the game. But then after that, it's kind of like, okay, well, they don't give you any sort of heads up when you're, probably too high of levels. It's more like, okay, well, you're gonna try this and just die. So.
Yeah. Like.
But I like that.
Yeah, this isn't too spoilery. But have you done the quest where you have to track down a werewolf? It's fairly early on. I think around.
Yeah, I did
6.
that one already.
Yeah, I went in that 2 levels under level, and I was just determined to beat it. So I bashed my head against the wall for quite a while trying to do that.
There was one that I was in the middle of attempting to do, and then I fell off a ledge and died. So I was in the middle of my last save, and I was just looking at the quest. It said recommended level 31, and I was level 5. Like, oh well, good thing I didn't try and fight that guy. But
yeah.
But no, I'm having played the 10 hours or so I put into it. I'm just excited to see what else it has to offer later on in the game.
Fair enough. It's got a lot. It's a big game. A lot of bang for your buck with that one. It's one of the ones I'm looking forward to going back and playing myself.
Yeah, I need to focus my time into that because the way I play games and stuff is if I'm playing something and then get distracted by another game, I'll never come back to the first game. So, I've made an effort to try and play as much of The Witcher as I can when I get a chance to.
As long as you stay rust-free for Overwatch competitive, no complaints here.
I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, especially with how good I am at the game.
Best Mayonnaise, that's the rumor going around.
I don't know, dude. I'm tearing up as Farah.
So what about you, Joe? What have you been playing since last week?
It's called HTML5, PHP,
Nice.
MySQL.
Sound like super fun
mean,
games.
It was the whole getting the website back up again thing, fiasco thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the outcome is a rewarding thing because I think it looks better. It's set up better. It's running faster.
Nice and snappy.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Might be a little bit biased, but I think it looks good as well.
Oh, thanks, man. It's one of those things, but not much, just been working and doing that. Excited to be back on the podcast.
Speaking of that, I'm broadcasting this to my channel. Whoops, forgot to switch profiles before we went live. Still working out the kinks.
I was going to say a tweet never went out.
I never did put out a tweet. That's fine. I see you're now playing tweet. Fuck it, I'll just post it on here for now. I just gotta remember when I go back to rip it that I have to rip it from my profile. Right. Anyway, yeah, I've not been playing too much besides Overwatch either. I literally don't think I've played anything else. Didn't play any trials. Yeah, I've just been watching stuff and playing Overwatch.
Speaking of watching stuff, I don't know if this is something we can throw in before we get to any gaming content related stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I know me and Joe talked about it yesterday. I believe it was that Game of Thrones finale. That was oof,
Yeah, we can talk about
that
that.
was something. Spoilers. Just yelling that quickly
Wait,
now.
hold on a second. I have a button for this.
I
Alright.
have a
A
button.
warning is up on screen. People have been warned.
Spoilers. I mean, to be fair though, this season, the way the internet works is if you haven't watched it, then you can go fuck yourself.
Yeah, people gave no shits this season.
Fuck spoilers. But no, that was nuts. Like, I think this was, and like I said, I was talking to Joe. Like, this is legitimately like the first episode where there was like a few moments where I was like, holy shit, and I actually like said it out loud. Like, when he jumped out of the window, like that was, I thought my TV was frozen. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then he goes out and just so effortlessly just jumps and falls. I'm like, oh my god,
Yeah.
that was nuts.
Took just that one step, and boop, gone.
Everything with that whole episode, it was nuts.
Yeah,
I don't-
quite
I
enjoyed
don't-
that as well.
I don't think there was any better way for them to end a finale. Like everything was on point. The music, just so many things happening, and he's finally sailing to Westeros.
Yeah, which is something that
Season.
people have been looking forward to.
Yeah, I mean, Chris was sitting here when I was watching it, and
Yeah.
it was like, I was like, holy shit! Like, I was like, holy shit! And I couldn't say anything because he wasn't watching it. I was like, oh my god!
Yeah.
Like when Tommen just wrecked himself
I
off
was
of the Red Keep, I was like, holy shit, Chris! You gotta. The first 20 minutes is like the best episode I've ever seen of Game of Thrones. Like honestly, I mean, it was.
It to me. I honestly think it was the best episode of any TV show I've ever watched. Memory. Like,
I mean, the wall was great, and this blew away the wall battle.
yeah.
You know.
Well, it's the director. Are you talking about like the one with the wildlings against the crows,
Yeah.
or the one with the White Walkers against the wildling, like last season? Because the guy
Not like the one where they're in the wooden fort, but like
Yeah.
that series of episodes is pretty good. I do
The
like
guy
when he
that-
raises up everybody.
yeah, the episode where they fight the wildling, or the wildlings fight the White Walkers and stuff at the camp or whatever, and then these last two episodes were all three directed by the same guy.
Yeah,
just good episodes.
the wildlings at the wall was sick
That was
too.
pretty good. If
Yeah, like
notice
how
those
they-
past-
Remember that
past-
giant hook they had?
Oh
Where
yeah,
they like swung
nuts.
across. Yeah.
You notice the past few seasons they've done things where they've had like one big battle episode.
Yeah.
But going forward, I know they said at most there's going to be 13 to 15 episodes. So left of the
Fair
series.
enough. Yeah, I was literally in the middle of editing last week's podcast, and Joe was just like, 27 minutes into the show, man. You have to watch it. And I was just like, okay, I'll pull it up.
I don't think I was pumped like I've ever been that pumped for like a finale of a show or anything like that. I watched it and I was just it blew away everything I was hoping for.
Good stuff.
But anyway,
Moving on, back on to games. I'll take down the spoiler banner. Yeah, haven't played much this week. But what I have played, like I was saying earlier, is Overwatch because the competitive update is live. Ooh, competitive update. I know Nick and I have had a chance to play the competitive
Everybody, this is
update.
Jeff again
Played
from the Overwatch
5 games I think
team.
the other day it was I had. I don't know if you played any more since then.
Yeah, I just played those ones, same ones. So, what do you think of competitive in its current
it's
state?
definitely more tryhard. I haven't had a chance yet because to fix my voice comms. Because for some reason
Mike.
they automatically put you in your group voice chat and not the actual team.
Yeah, you're having issues.
Oh, I don't know what the issue is. I haven't got a chance to test it out. But anyway, comp is people trying harder and actually, at least attempting to make better picks, and I like it so far.
Ideally, at least.
Only complaint I have is the matches take forever. I understand the comp game, it's going to take a little longer, but with the way they have this wacky overtime rule and stuff and sudden death, it just takes way too long. I think they definitely need to make some tweaks to how the system works, but I think they're going in the right direction right now.
Mhm. Can you do me a favor real quick, Nick, and see if Skype is automatically adjusting your volume?
You mean Huli chat?
One second. Why am I? Do I seem like quiet or something?
It keeps like varying.
That's weird.
Yeah.
But anyway, did you hear like anything I said?
Yeah, I heard it. You were just a little quiet. That's all.
Okay, okay. I think my mic slipped down or something. I don't know. See.
All right, but yeah, I kind of agree the matches are long. For those of you who don't know, depending on how the map works, if it's a payload map, it's whoever gets it the furthest in a set amount of time. I think it's, what is it, 10 minutes you have? Yeah, you're super quiet now. Still super quiet. Still super quiet. Yeah, whatever you did broke it again.
I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
But anyway, yeah, I don't exactly know the time, but the way it works is you have X amount of time to complete the map or get as far as you can, and it keeps track of your progress for payload maps. And if you complete it, it stops your timer, and the other team gets to go. And then for checkpoint maps, it counts the amount of checkpoints you get in that given time before it resets. And then if both teams complete to the same point, then you get to do it all over again with your remaining time, and that goes until someone either can't complete an objective or until it gets to a coin flip sudden death type thing, which I guess a lot of people are having problems with. There you go. Can hear it
Oh,
now.
I don't know. No, the problem I have with sudden death is I think that, if I don't know. I don't think it's more of a coin flip. I think if, say, we each complete 2 objectives, I did it faster, or I was able to stop you or whatever, I think that should give you the win. I don't know if there should be any sort of sudden death. I don't know.
Yeah, people aren't too happy with the way it currently works.
It definitely needs to be tweaked a bit in some way.
Yeah. I know the general consensus in the community seems to be that if you get attack after that coin flip, then you're probably going to win unless the other team just stonewalls you, which is more rare, I would say, than an attack team doing well on a capture map. But that's just me.
No, it's I don't know. I don't have a solid answer. I haven't played enough to give it a solid answer, but
yeah, I'm looking forward to playing more.
I think it definitely needs some sort of tweaking.
I was surprised that in the matches that we played, I still didn't have or hear anybody use their mic, and I have mine set up properly. I can normally hear people. I just didn't, which is bizarre. But that's life. Hopefully, as we get ranks and all that kind of stuff, more people will be willing to talk.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see going forward how people start communicating more.
Yeah. Hopefully they will. Fingers crossed.
I haven't heard much in this game, even through like text chat. There hasn't been much.
Yeah, it wasn't that active at all, which is disappointing. But we'll hold out hope. Like we said, we've only played our first 5 matches, so we'll see if it gets better once we start ranking up. I guess one of the other complaints, real quick before we move on to the next point, is I guess your your casual performance. Some people are speculating has something to do with your rank. I'm not sure if that's been confirmed yet.
I didn't see anything about that.
Yeah, I know some people were like skeptically observing that their casual rank their casual performance had an outcome on their rank. And after I started reading stuff about that, I thought maybe that's why you were able to see like a pre-rank for me.
Yeah, I was able to see something. I don't know what it was exactly.
Which is a weird bug. Yeah. Because we know right now that not only is it your initial rank based on your win-loss ratio, it's based on your individual performance too, which is nice. Because we were speculating about whether or not they were going to take individual performance into consideration for the ranking system last week on the one that you missed.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah.
I don't know. It's I like where it's going though.
Yeah.
A lot.
Me too. And they've been very receptive so far to feedback, so I imagine they have their ears wide open right now. And because it's a short season too, we might even see some of these fixes pretty soon in time for the fall season.
Yeah, I know they've been pretty active when it comes to communicating what they're doing and what their plans and stuff are. So
yeah, it's been really nice. Not too surprising from Blizzard, but still really nice to see that they're giving this their all. So yeah, unless you guys have anything more to say about competitive in general, I think we'll move on to the next little talking point we've got bulleted over here.
I'm good.
Okay. I know Joe's looking forward to getting into it. He's
Yeah,
actually
totally.
helping one of our friends power level right now, if you want to call it that.
We're actually playing against Nick, which is pretty funny.
Somehow.
That's funny. That is really funny. But in other Overwatch news, Overwatch has dethroned League of Legends as the top game in Korean gaming cafes / LAN centers, which I think is both hilarious and awesome. Not sure if you guys saw that headline at all.
Yeah, I remember. I think I brought it up actually the week 1 or 2. Just a little snippet of it, but no, that's. I mean, it's the first time I think in like what 4 years that it's been done.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
So that's it's pretty big. Like think about it.
Yeah, I remember. Ooh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, well, I mean, we'll see where it goes, but you know, that's definitely a big. It's more significant than it may seem.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was also pretty neat that the day that competitive went live, it was also the #1 streamed and watched game on Twitch. It took the #1 spot for a little while. All the big streamers were playing some competitive, so that put tons of eyes on the game, which is cool. If you're in Overwatch, if you're sick of Overwatch, then, well, you're probably fast forwarding through this portion of the podcast anyway. But I was going to say something about this. Yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes because of this kind of news.
I think it's gonna be a big game for a bunch of years.
Yeah.
Just alone the developer, what gets me compared to every other Blizzard game, and especially Hearthstone because that's the main one I play a bunch of, is just the communication difference. And this game, like they essentially have been saying like what their future plans are, no matter if they're going to do it or if they're not going to do it. Like they at least are giving people heads up. Okay, this is what we're looking at. This is what we're not looking at. These are changes you might see in the future, and it's refreshing to see that.
I agree.
Yeah, I think that's a good point because that's something that Rad brought up last week was documentation. And I think that's becoming inevitably popular. It's because people are actually finding news and reading it and identifying their own sources. And the more documentation there is for even just things that are potential changes is just that much more helpful to anyone,
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree because I mean it's like when it comes to nerfs and other stuff like that, there in other games there have been a bunch of complaints all the time, and a lot of developers just don't even acknowledge that. Okay, we're looking to see that it is a problem because we've had so many people complain.
Yeah.
The fact that they've responded and changed stuff quickly compared to every other game I've ever played, for the most part, is pretty great.
Yeah, they've been really great at explaining the reasons behind nerfs too, so it's been awesome to see all the love from both the community and the devs for all aspects of this game. I was speculating while we're on the subject of the throne that Overwatch has taken with some people from a different Discord a couple days ago now about the longevity of this game on consoles versus on PC, and I had put forth the idea that I think it's going to have a better longevity on PC simply because I think we're going to see more people sticking around with this game even once Call of Duty comes out, whereas I see console players abandoning Overwatch pretty quickly for something like Call of Duty and Battlefield.
I think I was going to say once I think Battlefield and Call of Duty come out, I think this game not necessarily is dead on console, but is definitely going to take a downfall.
Yeah. This is going to be that fun little game, I think, for a bunch of console players.
I think I think it definitely is going to help console in terms of popularity that they're balancing them separately. I think that's
absolutely
huge thing that not enough games do nowadays. Now, Black Ops 3 I know is one that did because there were issues with the Draken, which is the single-shot sniper rifle. Essentially, people were just spamming it, which with the mouse is fairly easy to do.
Yeah. Yeah, it was nice because just recently Torbjorn's turret got a nerf on consoles only, simply because it's harder to avoid the shots with a controller than it is with a keyboard and mouse. You're less accurate, less precise, all that kind of fun stuff. So it's awesome to see that they're dedicated to supporting it on all platforms, even though it might not last too long on consoles, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the nature of them, right? They're not meant to be long-term solutions.
I mean,
in any sense.
everybody could tell right away that Overwatch is going to be a PC mainly game, which it is.
Yeah.
I have a few people I know that play it on console and they love it, but there's so many other games that they're going to play that come to console, later this fall and stuff that
Yeah.
you just know it's going to die.
Yeah, the market on PC for FPS just isn't as big as it used to be, unless you're playing Counter-Strike. Other than that, you're not going to see like Call of Duty even come close, because everybody that plays Call of Duty in a serious manner plays it on consoles.
Yeah, that's where all the pro leagues and stuff are. So
You used to see Battlefield get pretty huge on PC, but again, it's
I
taken
think
over.
Battlefield. The thing is, it's been taken over, but
Yeah.
I think once Battlefield 1 comes out, it's going to be big. We haven't seen that type of shooter in a long time, and people have been dying for that type of game for a while. And the early reviews are that it's pretty good.
Yeah. I think it'll spur like a revival of that same like community that plays it on PC, and there'll be a short migration, then you'll see the audience split between like Battlefield and Overwatch on PC, for example, and Counter-Strike.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna. It's definitely not. Overwatch doesn't go anywhere. I definitely plan on playing Overwatch for a long time to come.
Yeah.
Especially when they're making all characters free going forward, all maps free.
Yeah.
All
the
things
more
like
reason.
that helps.
Yeah, definitely.
But I definitely am going to be playing other games on PC, mainly come fall time Battlefield.
Yeah, I have a bunch of stuff I'm going to be playing as well. We can actually transition to one of our other topics now with that, just because the Steam Summer Sale is going on right now, and the only game that I picked up is Gang Beasts, and that's one of those games that I'll be playing in addition to Overwatch, provided that people pick it up.
Yeah, I need to pick that up. I've watched people play that for like the last year, and it looks like so much fun.
Yeah.
But that's 100% controller must use.
Yeah.
Essentially, so.
I imagine they have keyboard controls, but controllers, yeah, definitely the way to go. But I also picked up the Super Fight expansion for Tabletop Sim, and then we have all sorts of other games coming out in the future that'll eat up a lot of my time that Overwatch is currently occupying. One of those most likely being the Bioshock remasters that 2K confirmed today, which I'm pretty excited about personally.
Yeah, no, it's I have Infinite already on PC, so it's essentially stuff I already have. I guess I have all three.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool for consoles.
I'm pretty excited for PC because I haven't played 2 in forever. And last time I went to go play 1, I was just like, this looks okay still, but it could look better.
I probably won't pick it up.
The one thing that I thought was funny in the announcement blog post is that Infinite shows that it's not going to, or the Infinite upres, if you want to call it that, for PC, isn't going to be a thing because they decided already that, oh hey, this already looks good enough on PC to where we don't need to change anything for it. But
I agree.
Yeah, being able to revisit 1 and 2 looking slightly better just gives me an awesome reason to go back and play these games again.
Yeah, I actually didn't play through 2. I played through 1. I liked it because I bought it for like $2 or whatever during like a humble bundle sale or something.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
One of the other cool things about it too is that it comes with all the single player DLC, so that it'll give me a chance to go play Minerva's Den because I never actually got to play that when 2 came out.
I think I don't know. Everybody's known about the buy, like not officially, but like it's been a thing for like a long time. That it kept getting leaked and stuff, and
yeah. I was surprised to see that it's coming out so soon. That it's coming out September 13th.
I figured this fall. I didn't, I'm glad September 13th, just because it's ahead of everything else. Then I guess.
Yeah. Gives them a head start.
Most part. Yeah. But who knows? We'll see. I think it'll do well.
Yeah. My biggest sticking point for it is that it's going to be $60, which kind of sucks.
Yeah,
I get why.
It's 3 full games.
3 good games. Games
yeah,
you should play.
3 full games that have been remastered HD and stuff like that. So
yeah.
I'm not gonna complain about it.
Yeah, I'll just go sell some more CS skins before I pick it up. Which is what I did for Gang Beasts, because
yeah, cheap
I
game.
sold my Asimov, my Op Asimov.
Asimov. That's surprising.
Yeah, they have dropped in price since I purchased it. It sold for $22, I think.
Not
It's
too
still
bad.
not too bad, but yeah, I think when I bought it, it was around like 28, somewhere around there, 26, 28.
But man, you gotta play ESCA, bro.
No, I'm good.
Strong. You gotta play ESCA with me, man.
I'm committed to Overwatch at this point, as far as my PC tastes go. But yeah,
Added to Overwatch.
I don't think you've ever played Overwatch before, or not Overwatch, Bioshock, have you, Joe?
No.
Remember, that's a game, and we just recently got Joe to play real
Yeah.
game.
If you're looking for a
Dude,
solid,
I am a gamer, man.
yeah, I think most gamers have played Bioshock.
I'm a gamer.
But if you're looking for like a solid single player experience, a game where you can just like chill, I guess would be the best word for it, and play by yourself, highly, highly recommend Bioshock.
I just play Netflix and
So yeah, keep an eye on that one.
HTML5 when I want to chill.
It's a shooting game, so there's that. You'll be familiar with that much at least. But yeah, so maybe we'll see if we can convince Joe to play that when it comes out. Be a good
doubt
series
it.
for him, because not many people can say they've never played Bioshock before. So I think it'd be great to like see a reaction to somebody who's seen or probably heard about this game but managed to avoid it
Can we
for
pause
whatever
for a
reason.
second and so I could tell Joe get shit on? That was great.
Dude, it was all Torbjorn and like 9% you, so.
I am Torbjorn.
Oh, well, that was all fucking the Hanzo and 9% you, Torbjorn.
Anyway,
But yeah, so Bioshock, play it if you haven't before.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've always focused on games because I'm like
a real gamer.
Gamer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not like I wouldn't call myself a real gamer because there's a lot of people who know like last week you were talking about Mega Man. Like I have brief experience with that. You know what I mean? Like I can't be like, yeah, I played all these games throughout time to really have a deep sense of being what a true gamer is. I don't.
I got a
Gamers
badge
just
at
being
PAX that
passionate
says
about
I'm a
games.
gamer.
I've played a few games
Did
to
you?
try to get
Yeah, man,
professional status.
the Acer party, they give out badges that said gamer on them.
That's funny.
I just got wrecked.
I was gonna say I don't remember getting a true gamer badge.
It just says gamer.
That's funny.
Gamer.
But yeah, speaking of people who may or may not be gamers, aka people who play Nintendo games, Nintendo has confirmed, although they didn't want this information public, that they have started research on virtual reality, which I think is surprising to absolutely nobody, given where games are going today.
I think Nintendo needs to worry about their consoles before they worry about virtual reality.
The one that
It's
they
gonna
wouldn't
be
even
Wii
show.
fucking virtual reality, dude. Wii VR.
Wii VR, yeah. We
So
play
that's what-
VR.
I mean, seriously, like what? What game would anyone even want to fucking? They'd have to uplink it so that it works with any fucking VR headset, because there's no way you're gonna buy a Nintendo headset to play some shitty Nintendo game on VR.
Oh, people will. Like, Nintendo
they
has some
definitely will.
hardcore fans, man.
I
They're definitely not going to abandon their own platform to make VR games for anything else. So
I would hope it would be like cross-compatible at least.
that's not Nintendo's deal. Everything's
They
like
don't.
exclusively Nintendo.
Steve Jobs.
Pretty
over here.
much. Controllers you can't use on anything else. You know, games aren't readable by anything else. They don't make games for anybody else. They hardly have third-party support anywhere. I think it'd be pretty cool though, seeing some of those Nintendo franchises in VR. Like, I could get down with a Metroid demo.
Definitely
VR.
interesting.
That'd be pretty
I
cool.
don't. I don't know. Knowing them, it'd take them like 5 years from now to actually develop something worthwhile. So.
Absolutely.
Oh, I mean, that'd be cool, but I have no hope for it to ever actually get like.
They said
Something.
they're still in like the early testing phases too, just like literally feeling it out. So it won't be anything we see
I think
anytime
that
soon.
they've waited way too long to do it. Like everybody else is already in the game. Like I get what they're going for, but everybody else is already so far ahead of you. In a sense.
Maybe they were betting on it not being as big of a, I don't want to say success because it's still in its infancy, but has garnered people's attention as much as they thought it would.
I have nothing nice to say about Nintendo at this point.
How many Nintendo games have you played, Joe?
I actually played N64 because I didn't have a console until my dad bought me an N64. So I played that for like 5 years. I played NBA Live and I played like a shit ton of Mario Kart and
Nice.
yeah.
Diddy Kong
Until I
Racing,
picked up
Smash, Donkey Kong
until I
Country
picked up
64.
StarCraft Brood War. I was a console gamer and then it began early on
Nintendo
and I was
console
a
gamer.
PC gamer, yeah. So
That's funny.
yeah, I mean StarCraft, man, that was the shit, and like kids in my school were playing it too, so it was cool. Like the cool kids in my school were playing StarCraft, so you knew that shit was hot at the time. You know, like
Yeah.
when Brew War came out, that game was on fire.
That's one game franchise I never got into was StarCraft. I used to be a huge fan of RTSs. I played like Command and Conquer and Age of Empire and all those kind of stuff, but I somehow managed to miss StarCraft and never got into that one. I've never bothered to go back and play them.
I played like Age of Empires and stuff, and I just wasn't very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, dude, that's honestly those were my favorite type of games until, and I probably should have just played those because those, like when I first got into gaming outside of console gaming and StarCraft, my friend was like my my stepmom's friend had a son that was a little bit older than me, and he played like Command and Conquer and all those things online. So he always had like some crazy RTS game to play, and I would just go and watch him. And I got
Conquer
like
2
really,
is the shit.
yeah, I mean, I got really good at like being strategic, you know. So I mean, I love that kind of shit, and
Upped your APMs and got your macros down.
yeah, dude. I mean, it was fun. So and I played online with him, and that was one of the coolest things. That was probably one of the time. That's when I started playing multiplayer games online.
I'm
And
trying to think.
those were probably my favorite games until I started playing Warcraft, which is my first FPS really besides Call of Duty.
I think my first online multiplayer experience was in Battlefield 2 or Medal of Honor Spearhead. One of those. Allied Assault and Spearhead. Those are the first ones that I remember at least. Chances are I might have like played an online match of like a one-off game before that, but those are the first two I remember like getting into both on PC and just loving the absolute hell out of those.
I played I mean, I'm trying to think. I didn't play any like Halo or anything online. I didn't get online for myself other than like random ass computer games, like until I got a 360 with Call of Duty World at War. Like the first big game that I was playing like religiously, even though it wasn't online, was Halo. Like when Halo 1 came out, I didn't have an Xbox, but you know my friend across the street did. That's literally all we would do every day. We just play through Halo 1 and 2, like the campaigns, and
Yeah.
I want to think the other game, Brute Force. I don't know if you ever heard of that game.
Yep, I remember that.
We played. Those are literally the 3 games we played religiously, like all the time. Like we would stay up all night and we'd play split screen stuff of that. And the other one, like that I played with a bunch of people, was Battlefield 2, like local stuff. I forgot somewhere I went. It had Battlefield 2 and a bunch of people were playing. I mean, it was Halo for me. It was the big one.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to play online when like Halo and Halo 2 were super popular on
Actually,
Xbox, but I played those campaigns to death.
That's
I
a
played
lie.
So much local multiplayer.
I just remembered. Very first multiplayer game I played online was SOCOM.
Oof.
Back in
SOCOM on PS, yeah.
PS2, I played SOCOM. I wasn't allowed to use a mic for obvious reasons nowadays. I'm sure most of you can figure out because I was like 8 years old at the time. But it
My
was
neighbor
SOCOM.
played that. That's how old that game is.
So great. I loved it. Like it was so much fun.
The only
But you know,
SOCOM-
it's
Sorry.
go ahead.
The only SOCOM I ever played online was the PSP SOCOM. So that's my experience with SOCOM multiplayer.
You know, it was like SOCOM 1 and 2 were like so good, and like they've tried so many times to get that same feeling back in new SOCOM games, and they've just never been able to do it. But no, SOCOM 1 online for PS2. That was like back when you had to like get a disc to play online on PS2. You had to like install something, and
Yeah, you had to have
couldn't,
a
like,
separate adapter, didn't you?
yeah, you couldn't just plug in your you couldn't just plug in your Ethernet cord to like like an Xbox you can now, and voila, you're connected online. You can play against people essentially. You had to, get an adapter and all that other stuff, and yeah, it was different, way different back then.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be safe to say that probably like Navy SEAL SOCOM was one of the, if not most popular games at the time to play online multiplayer.
Oh,
Just
definitely.
because of how good the VoIP was for the time, I think.
It was pretty good. It was pretty
Yeah.
good. I mean, the graphics were good. It was a different kind of game than anybody was playing back then.
Yeah, tactical games weren't really a thing. You really had Ghost Recon when that finally came out on console, and SOCOM, and those are like the two big ones that I remember. And
Yeah.
now Ghost Recon is sadly essentially Far Cry, but with the name Ghost Recon slapped onto it.
Yeah.
Damn Ubisoft.
I don't know, man. I have beef with Ubisoft
Why is
Like, just because I hate him. Not really, but
that? I'm curious what your experiences with Ubisoft are.
every Tom Clancy game I've bought just is blown ass. So
Oh.
Is it The Division like the only Tom Clancy game you bought?
no, there's the one before the Ghost Recon, maybe it was.
Advanced Warfare or not Advanced Warfare?
Future Soldier.
Was it Future Soldier?
Whatever the one that like sliding was the big gimmick in it,
I don't remember.
Call
that
of
one.
Duty.
Yeah, I know. It's like no, and even on console, I bought Ubisoft games before, Tom Clancy's, and they're just shit. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just my experience, and maybe I'm just
It's
salty.
most people's experience.
But I feel like they're just shit games. Like
Other
they have
than the
really-
early Assassin's Creed games.
I love the early Assassin's Creed
Oh, the
games.
Assassin's Creed.
I'm
is
saying
amazing.
early
nice.
then most of their games are pretty shit. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think their games are pretty shit. They have really
No,
cool
they had
concepts.
Rayman, and then Splinter Cell. Love those games.
You're Splinter Cell.
Splinter Cell used to be like one of my favorite games. And then Ubisoft went and fucked that one up too. Or who develops Tom Clancy? Or Tom Clancy, Jesus Christ, Splinter Cell. I think it was a Tom Clancy like series. God, they've got so many studios now.
I don't know.
It all sucks. It all sucks, man. And not to be salty, but it all sucks. It's all the worst shit you've ever installed.
Prince of Persia. People love Prince of Persia. I wish Chrome would stop
God,
fucking around. The original Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon came out in 2001 on Windows, Xbox, PS2. It came out on GameCube? What? Huh. That's interesting. Yeah. Speaking of things that make me think of the good old days, I read an interesting article from Kotaku, actually, which is a rare thing for me to say.
Ew.
Yeah.
Del Taco?
About a sentiment that I've shared before, I believe, on this podcast, and it's that game demos are few and far between.
The early access is the new game demo.
Yeah, no kidding.
No. There is a game that just started a Kickstarter that has an actual like legit demo that you can play. The System Shock reboot or remaster, whatever it is, Kickstarter has a game demo that you can play
Proof
right
of
away
concept
before
thing.
anything. I don't know what it is.
I still think you don't see them too often, though. Like, even with that
No,
early access
never.
stuff, it's like pay to play or
Oh, you
get into the open beta,
you never really you don't see game. It's all betas. Everything's
Yeah.
a beta now.
which sucks.
Even then, a lot of them aren't open.
Yeah, until the game is practically ready to come out like a week before launch.
Yeah.
I used to love demos. I played so many different games because of demos.
I
It's
remember when
nuts.
discs used to come with demos themselves.
Yeah.
Remember those PS3 discs that would come out where it would be like 5 games in one?
Like in PlayStation
Yeah, like
Magazine.
I used to get them in
Yeah.
PlayStation Magazine.
Yeah,
but
exactly. That.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
Those were-
okay, well, I need to play all these.
I would play the shit out of those like
Yeah.
4-minute games. I mean, you know what I mean?
too,
Like,
yeah.
there's this like Chinese like I don't even know what it was. It was like some Ming Dynasty bullshit, but it
Dynasty
was real
Warriors.
good. Yeah, some really cool.
You
And it was
just
like-
killed a bunch of people.
Yeah, but the demo was like so short. Like you'd literally go through the whole storyline and then right up to the battle, do this miniature thing, and then it would be over. But I like somehow spent probably months playing the same thing over and over just because to me it was so fascinating.
Yeah, I remember even PC Gamer did the same thing. You used to get those PC Gamer demo discs, and
Yeah.
it would just give
I
you shit to
have
try.
on Tomb Raider. I have Tomb Raiders here, one or two for PC or for not PC, PlayStation One, and it has demos on the disc itself. Like the game itself has demos
Yeah,
for
I
other
think
games.
was it Crash Bandicoot that had a demo for Spyro, or is it Spyro that had a demo for Crash Bandicoot?
I
I
think it
forget which
was.
it was.
I
I
don't
think it
know.
was Crash Bandicoot had a demo for Spyro.
That sounds right. 'Cause I think Spyro's newer than Crash.
I never bought Spyro.
Spyro is so good.
Yeah, but it's like 2 feet in front of me. My little drawer.
Well,
My other.
Spyro 1, 2, and 3 are good. Anything that Activision published, not so much. Yeah, I miss demo discs. I think demo discs alone, like, expose people to games they never would have tried originally or had any intention of playing. But because that's all you had to play, because you were young and you couldn't
Poor.
buy games all the time. Yeah, you're
And
just
you
like,
could only
oh,
talk your parents into buying one magazine a month.
yeah.
Get the disc.
I got lucky. I had the subscription.
Oh
PlayStation
damn.
magazine for like 4 years.
Yeah, I
I
had
had
like Sports Illustrated for
Yeah.
kids, so I got like
I
cards.
had stacks of the magazines just lying everywhere.
Rough life, Joe.
I know, that's the fucking. Oh, cool! I can look at these paper things and fold them.
I can trade it with all my
but-
friends. Oh wait, everybody
Yeah.
else has gaming magazines.
Truth, truth. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it was probably driven by the magazines themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's a
I
great
hear-
selling point.
With the decrease in physical discs that people are buying now, you'll never see like physical demo discs ever again.
No, it's just imagine they were expensive. Putting a disc in like every single issue of a magazine. God, can't imagine how much money that would have cost.
That'd be like kind of the more advantageous thing of like consoles, though, is you'd be able to. I mean, I guess you can do a Steam. Like Steam does it; they'll give you free demos, like a weekend trial and stuff like that. So,
Even that, there's not a lot. It's
yeah,
funny that you mentioned consoles because in this Kotaku article, the author looked up the amount of demos on Xbox One at the time of writing the article, which was today actually, and there are 33 demos on Xbox One,
wow,
despite the entire catalog. And on PS4, there are 83. And apparently, some of those are exclusive to PS4, which is nuts.
yeah.
And it says Steam has more than 1,000 demos, but Steam also has a gaming library that goes back 20 years, and you can play demos for some of those games still because it doesn't cost anything really to host it online.
Yeah, it's like a penny for a gig now,
Yeah.
or half a penny a gig now for cloud storage that's secure.
Yeah, and some of these
So-
old demos take up like next to no space, so it's like a non-factor just to have it available to people.
Thanks, Tranquil Matt, you fucking piece of shit. Sorry.
That's right. Yeah, even if we never see physical discs again, I think it'd be cool to see more companies release demos of their game, just because
Yeah, I
I
mean,
like playing them.
Single player games could definitely use little demos. I'm
Yeah.
trying to think. There was a bunch on PS4 store, not that long ago.
Mm.
They're starting to do some that you can get.
And
Um,
one of the
I
things
mean,
that,
multiplayer games are always betas. Betas
Yeah.
this, betas that.
that's not really anything you've ever had a demo for, but single player games would be nice. And one of the things that this article brings up is that now, instead of like playing a demo, you go watch a Let's Play or you go watch a stream of a game if you want to know what it's like. And that's nice and all, but it doesn't really give you an idea for how the game, feels to play. It's different to watch something and experience it firsthand, I think. You can get a gist of it from a Let's Play or a video, but I don't think you get the full experience just listening to somebody else's opinion about it.
Yeah. There's some people that prefer that, but I mean, I'm definitely a hands-on. Like, I never advocate for anything unless I actually use it
Yeah,
and test it, and you know what I mean?
I'm all for trying something, for sure. Just like with VR, like I've been a big fan of the idea of VR ever since it was announced. Since the Rift was announced, at least that's when I really started paying attention to it. But up until last weekend, I'd never actually tried new VR or the Vive, and man, I was sold on it before, but just experiencing it firsthand it just leaves that much more of an impression on you. I like actually get it now after having used it, and it just sold me even more. Things like that are unique experiences you don't get from watching a video, because maybe you would have played the game differently, or you would have done something different, or maybe you had the same exact experience, but the fact that you had that experience yourself, I think, is special, I guess would be the best way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds narcissistic, but a lot of the times I feel like I could have played the game better, or I would have thought of something. There's like a lot of things I'm like, why didn't you try this? Why didn't you try? You know, like,
Yeah.
so that's one of the aggravating things about Let's Plays. Like, depending on who you're watching, and I know there's some actually really intelligent people making some of them, but I watched them before. I'm like, you just left out 6 parts that could have made that more efficient, you know? And
Yeah.
that pisses me off. I'm like, God, why did you do that when you could do this, you know?
Yeah.
And it's
Or they didn't
so,
go down this hallway, but they went down that other
yeah.
hallway. What's down that hallway? Damn it, why didn't you go down there?
Yeah, you know, just like those little quirks, idiosyncrasies that kind of make watching something a less interactive piece because you're thinking about everything else that you can't see or something.
Yeah, which is one of the things that's going back to all this. What initially brought up this topic in my mind a couple weeks ago now is when Doom announced that they were actually going to do a demo, which is just the first level. It was a very Doom thing because it gave away, shareware copies of the game all that time ago. But I was just like, oh, that's awesome that Doom's doing that. So it gives people who are like skeptical about buying the game a chance to actually play it for themselves and, see if they like the pacing, if they like the combat, rather than just watching somebody else fight. And in the case, maybe you only saw Polygon's video the first half an hour of the game, and you're just like, oh my god, this is slow, this is shit, because, the person playing the game was most likely slow and shit themselves. But being able to play it for yourself is something completely different.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, demos, I miss them. Come back. Humble, if you want to take up that responsibility to collect demos from people, I'd be okay with that.
Humble demo bundle.
That'd be so cool if they rounded up just like a shit ton of demos that still worked, and just like, hey, we found these things, just if you want to give us some money for hosting them, go ahead. I'd be all about that.
Like a pay as you wish
Yeah,
kind of service.
that's what Humble is for everything they do,
Yeah.
actually. But it'd be awesome
Yeah.
to see it with demos. One of my
Yeah,
favorite video series on YouTube right now is Demo Disc, which is Funhouse, or done by Funhouse. And it's just them going through old demo discs and playing all these obscure games on these discs, the ones that actually still work. And it's great
funny.
seeing like all the different ideas and all that kind of stuff.
Funhausen.
Yeah, Funhouse. They're great. Check them out if you haven't already. Plug in them real quick. Did you guys see anything else? I think I'm done reminiscing in the olden days now. Did you guys see
No,
any
no.
other gaming kind of things that you wanted to talk about?
Not really.
How about you, Joe?
Nope.
One thing I did want to ask you about, Nick, since we haven't talked about it too much. How's Warcraft going now that you're on that
Well,
crack again?
my subscription was over. So I mean, it was,
Done with that for now.
like last week. Yeah, and I got The Witcher, so I mean, it was the month that I played, I actually had a blast. I finally hit 100.
Nice.
So
You're good
and
to
then
go.
I got very overwhelmed with everything there is to do when I hit 100.
Mhm.
Because like it's insane compared to what it was, back when I was max level like a year or 2 years ago.
Should have got yourself a moose before you quit. That's what I did.
I don't know what that is.
It's the
It's an hour.
Like
warden, Earth Warden.
I just wanted to go like get my flying mount, but like you have to do all this other things to get your flying for Draenor first, and I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do any of that.
Yeah, Draenor is an achievement-based one, so it sucks a
Yeah,
lot.
I didn't
I'm
want
pretty
to
sure I don't have that still, so.
I'm pretty close. I think I'm missing a couple world achievements. But yeah, not fun. It sucks that you can't just buy it, but it went into their whole philosophy about building that world out. That we'll see if they do it again for Outlands. I hope not.
I don't at all.
It forces players to explore the world and see everything there's to see. Yeah,
I'm
but
actually definitely. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't know.
I was just gonna say, yeah, but I've experienced the world for like 100 hours at this point. Just let me fucking fly.
I'm definitely pumped for Legion though. I'm gonna play a bunch of that. I think
Yeah.
I really
it was fun.
hearing you play makes me really want to download it and play.
Fun. Like, it was like I was legitimately having like as much shit as it gets nowadays. I was legitimately having fun with like the leveling for the most part because like the content was still somewhat new to me.
Mhm.
Like, I didn't necessarily know what I was getting into, and it was different.
Yeah.
But I was definitely having fun.
Yeah, and it's only getting better.
Games though, like I didn't obviously know anybody playing it because obviously you guys don't play any of it anymore and that. So it's definitely better if you play it with like a group of people.
Mhm. Yeah, we can actually get into Warcraft for a little bit, talking about Legion. Because my favorite part about Warcraft, or one of my favorite parts, if not my favorite part, has always been the leveling and the questing. As an alcoholic, it's always my favorite part of the game. And in Draenor, it's the best that it's ever been. You got to see all these different like cinematics as you progressed, and the world changed around you.
Cool. Definitely, seeing Draenor after doing all the Draenor stuff again after seeing the movie was pretty interesting as well.
Getting to see like Ren Blackhand and Gul'dan.
Like it was nice.
Yeah.
But no, I like I said, I legitimately had fun with the few weeks that I played again, and I get why it gets so much shit. I don't necessarily agree with it, but with a game like WoW, people can critique it pretty hard.
I think the reason it gets so much shit is because it was something and it pivoted. And the was something doesn't really work in this kind of world anymore, but people are reminiscent of that.
It's those rose-colored glasses that people are looking back on the game with.
I mean, I feel the way that normal people who've played WoW for years.
I mean, you played it so much more than I have.
Yeah, I mean, I regret not being on for the opening of AQ40, and so there's like a lot of things that I didn't get to experience that I would have enjoyed more than I have experienced.
Mm-hmm.
Like running back to fucking raids through Blackrock, like actually, there's a lot like it sounds super masochistic, but that's what I love about Warcraft is it's fucking hard.
That's a great example, I think, though, of that rose-colored glasses thing. It's just like, yeah, people like look back on that's a good time, but you would waste so much time running from blasted lands back into Blackrock to find the right portal if you didn't know which the portal was.
Yeah, if you fall off the chain, you do it again.
Yeah, it's just
even now,
reminisce
like when I
positively about it, but that shit sucked. Like fuck that. I'm happy that shit's gone. No, thank you.
When I was playing now, like it felt like I was wasting so much time. Not necessarily wasting, but like time would fly by because a dungeon queue now for if you were doing DPS was like 25 minutes on average every single time I was playing.
Yeah.
So like I would do that. I would wait for my dungeon queue. I'd do a dungeon that would last 20 minutes or so, and then I'd do one more. I'd queue for one more and do another one. There goes an hour and a half.
Yeah. That's one part that talks about being DPS and then playing during an off season. Is those super long queues for DPS.
I'm definitely buying Legion though.
Yep, me too.
We need to, figure out, what we want to do for playing together if we're going to do that and whatnot.
Yeah.
So.
One of the things that's super nice about Legion is that the zones scale with player level. So if somebody does fall behind, slap their ass as group leader and it'll scale down everybody else to fit that zone. Which is super awesome when we have a group as diverse as we do, who plays different amounts at different times.
Agreed, because I'm sure everybody would agree that out of all the people, I'm obviously the lowest on the totem pole.
Mm-hmm.
Of what?
WoW experience and how good they are at the game in a sense.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much stuff where like I could probably be doing it would make the game 100 times easier, but man, like the one day I went through and I reset up all my add-ons and stuff, and it's just a pain.
Yeah,
it really is.
Oh yeah, starting from scratch. Like I uninstalled WoW. I think I officially uninstalled WoW the other day, and I'm gonna have to go back and set up all my add-ons again. And thankfully, I know like the essential ones by heart at this point. It's just a matter of having to go back and set them up and then reload the configs. because I don't think I backed any of them up. So I have to reset up like dominoes again and all that kind of fun stuff.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I've played games like very monogamously, I must say World of Warcraft is probably like my past life. Like,
Yeah.
I grew and matured and played World of Warcraft throughout that experience.
Yep.
And yeah.
It's just, the one thing, the big difference is, when I started playing last month or whatever again, and, I remember back when I was playing more hardcore, I guess, the Stormwind would be filled with people literally all the time. And then I went and played, and there's like 3 people in the auction house. Whenever I was on, like, it was like, it could have been like a Friday night, and there was like 3 or 4 people in the auction house at most.
Yeah.
2 people outside it. Like, it's completely different.
Yeah,
It's kind of sad, but
it's due to instancing, and then you're playing during an off season.
I just got to find the right server. Got to find people to play with.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, the expansion's been out for like 2 or 3 years
Yeah,
or
close
something
to
like
2
that. Like,
years.
so I mean, I still see people getting their warden, and they're happy about that. So like, there's a lot of casual players that are still even getting into the raids right now.
They're legendaries.
Yeah.
I haven't done any of the rating in the.
Fucking legendary rings.
I don't plan on it, to be honest, just because that's, if anything, I would just do LFR. But nothing.
Dude,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's the way to
what
go.
about Legion? You
Legion, I definitely, if we get into it, I definitely want to, just
Yeah.
because I haven't really ever had a,
Progression
actual
rate.
rating experience. Yeah, like I know we tried the one time, but
we are yet to have a complete raid
Raid
team
group, yeah. We tried
part of our
with Draenor.
group here.
Yeah. So that'll be fun. Getting back into tanking, strapping on the plate gear.
no, I'm hoping to.
I'm gonna play Hunter again, so
Nice. Just
Yeah.
topping DPS charts. No problem.
and beyond, man. I mean, I might even get it this weekend and play a little bit. I just love the
Scratch that
game.
itch.
Yeah.
Start up a new account, just get that free level 20. Just enough to scratch the itch.
Oh, dude, I'm not like you with your
It's not the
little.
same. I tried doing that for the Hearthstone portrait.
Mm-hmm.
Did the level 20 on the starter account. It wasn't the same as me leveling up from 95 to 100. Like 95 to 100 was so much more fun, I think.
Oh yeah, you've got more abilities and the quests are better. They're just flat out better at higher
Yeah, I mean, have
levels.
you leveled from 1 to 100?
Me?
Yeah, I
yeah.
straight. I mean, I've done 1 to whatever 70 it was, and then 70 to 80, and
Yeah.
80 to 90, and.
I mean, leveling's just fucking awful. It's the worst part of the game.
I didn't hate it, to be honest.
I love
Like,
leveling.
I liked as soon as I was able to do like decent dungeons and stuff, and start actually getting decent gear and stuff. That's what made it more fun. Not the same 2 dungeons for 6 hours straight.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I was having fun. It's fun.
I love the entire leveling experience with the exception of Burning Crusade. Now that I can queue,
Hates
like
Burning
dungeon
Crusade.
queue through Burning Crusade, I won't even set foot in like the Outlands. I'll queue up, and then I'm just chilling there, and that's it. That's my entire Burning Crusade experience now, and I love it, even though I hate half those dungeons. Like Hellfire Ramparts, love that shit. I'll play it till I can't anymore. Then you go into what is it, the Bloodworks?
Manitoons, dude. Oh my god.
Fuck, they're not as bad as they used to be. With the
But
shit
do you
group,
remember
they
them
can be
back
ass.
in the day?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Fuck those places.
Those are the most AIDS dungeons ever. Like, seriously.
Your pool's too big. Your healer's out of mana. Your casters can't do shit. It's great.
Yeah. That's...
Even if you get a bad group now leveling, it can be a pain in the ass because some healers will just like go AFK in the head, and you'll be taking too much damage because the packs are so close together.
Yeah. I mean, Manitombs makes Mythic Dungeons look like cake. Like old Manitombs.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to. They've been talking about making dungeons more difficult again, and I'm looking forward to that because I think it needs to be like that mid step between in the gameplay between leveling and raids. It needs to like reinforce those ideas of CCs and stuns and target priority, and I think dungeons should be the place where you learn that, not in LFR,
Yeah,
not in
yeah,
the
LFR
raid.
doesn't do any of the
Definitely don't do
justice.
that.
Yeah.
LFR should be like a 10-man, in my opinion. If you want to get people serious about raiding.
That's the thing, though. It's not
think
for. It's not to get
yeah,
people
I
serious
don't.
about raiding.
LFR was a good. Like, I wasn't serious about raiding, and when I was doing it in Kata, I liked it. It was a good it was a good raid experience for me as a beginner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's nice
I could
'cause-
not necessarily take that seriously,
Mm.
and I could still have fun with it.
Yeah,
'Cause
you.
as Crip was talking about last week, and he's like, good guilds hate each other. Like if you're friends, you're not going to be a good guild that's good at raiding. Usually the people that are good like hate each other because they're going to be good players, but they won't necessarily have the best personalities.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
I mean,
like
I've
somebody
noticed
fucks
that.
up and you hate them. Like if they're the reason that you're wiping all night, you're not going to be happy with that person.
I would say, like, in your raid team, that's true. Because there's often very blamey. But as far as, like, community, I mean, I was a part of this group back in the day where we would all, like, have pug groups. And it was called Pugtar. And, like, basically the guy that ran it had, like, 5 alts. So we would constantly be running on our alts, getting heroic achievements, doing stuff like that most people could even do with their main raid teams. And often, like, a lot of us would be raiding with shittier guilds, but because we were better players and they knew it, we would be going on these, like, super achievement run things where we'd be killing heroic bosses and just destroying content,
That's awesome.
So yeah, a lot of people would save their mains for this group because we were just so good at down and like
Yeah.
easily getting like Light of Dawn and things like that. They were far more challenging at the time.
Get him like pre-nerf and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, and it was easy because you just had a bunch of guys and gals who knew what they were doing. Some of them, like even my raid group, a lot of the people were ex-Blizzard interns or current Blizzard interns. I had a guy in my guild who he was the like first druid to like level 1 through 90 basically in the world most of the time, and so he was there. Just they would do like that chain pull shit and like you know what I mean, like these are the kind of people that like they played EverQuest and they had their pager with them and they're like, oh boss, I gotta leave, a boss is up,
Yeah.
so, and they're all good people, but there is definitely like there is a very competitive environment,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
and it can get quite toxic.
Yeah, I remember. God damn, when I was raiding in Kata, like we had a pretty decent raid group. Like we got along pretty well. There's this one fucking kid. I never understood how he maintained his spot in the raid group. He was a rogue, pain in the ass. He wouldn't ever move out of shit. He had like did a really shit job of listening. His DPS wasn't the best. Never understood how he like kept his spot in the team. But goddamn, I remember hating like him specifically because I know he would fuck up the wipes.
Yeah.
Or fuck up the raids and lead to the wipes.
I mean, there's been a couple scenarios where I've yelled at husbands that sucked ass because their wife was just the wife was the tank and the husband was a really bad healer, and I've like made marital problems between them because I've called them out for being bad.
You would be the kind of guy that does that, though.
I mean, it's the truth though, man. Like if you're in a competitive raid environment and you need the best healer and this guy's not doing shit, it doesn't matter who he's married to. It's not the spoil system, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Put him in like the off raid team.
Yeah.
I mean, like if you want to progress, you're cutthroat.
Yeah.
There's no fucking around if you're going for progression rating.
Yeah. That's what it was. Is like I was like, yeah, that's fine. If he's gonna take the time to get better, cool. But if we're gonna keep giving him the gear over people that are gonna help us get there, and this guy's doing no heals, not even playing. He was playing Disc Priest at the time, and he was like fucking awful at holy. And yeah, he was just he did no damage mitigation. He couldn't play the other specs of Priest. He just had an excuse for everything. It's just like, dude, just take your ball and get off the court. Come back when you have a better attitude about getting good at the game.
Yeah, if you can't accept some criticism, you're playing the wrong game, or you're playing this game in the wrong way.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah. WoW is probably some of the most toxic I've ever been as a player because I get so pissed off at people who aren't carrying their weight. And I've been that person who hasn't carried their weight before, and I've learned from it. But you get those people who, like, you tell them, oh, hey, don't stand in this, don't stand in that, don't do this, try doing this. And they're just like, oh, go fuck yourself. And I'm just like, yep, I'm done with you.
I have add-ons that tell me not to stand in things. And
yeah, it's great. You don't even have to know it.
High-ass alarms that are very loud when you're standing in, like, fire or something. It's great.
Yeah.
I mean, mind you, at the time when this raid was going on that this guy was doing all this, there was an add-on that literally told you where the mechanics were going. So if there was fire on the ground, 10 seconds before there was fire on the ground, there was a giant red circle that said, "Get the fuck out of it." Like there was a,
Yeah.
and they removed it from the game because people were drawing penises with it. But it was incredibly helpful and was cheese as fuck
Mhm.
at the time. Now you look at it and be like, "Oh, that's just a basic WoW add-on," you
Yeah.
know. But and this guy couldn't. He was incompetent, man.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't show up for work not knowing what to do. You know, why would you come to the raid with no
Unprepared.
fucking clue?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chances are there's already a video out by like Vodka or Method or somebody. So go watch their video. Go read the Wowhead guides. Read the journals now that those are a thing. Watch other
Yeah.
people try and see where they're failing because you can pull up VODs now for raids because people are going to be streaming the shit out of Legion.
Yeah, I mean, this time this was a guild that was definitely not at the cusp of progression either. So you're right, there was
Yeah.
many opportunities to learn. You know, even like
Even before all like streaming and everything, there were forums like go
yeah,
visit Tank
yeah,
Spot.
yeah. Tank Spot was like the shit back
Yeah.
then. It was go watch Tank Spot before the raid. You know,
Yeah.
and he would be the guy that would tell you. He'd remind you, and it's like, dude, go just delete your account before raid. You know, it got to that point where it's like, are you really talking to me right now, man?
Yeah.
I will just remove you.
Yeah. Oh god, that happened in Overwatch the other day, and I got flashbacks to WoW because we had Double McCree, I think it was on the team, double somebody, and I told the guy, please play anybody but who you are right now. Oh, he was offensive Torbjorn, that's what it was. On a payload map, which okay, you know, if we get the payload, you can throw it down on there and it'll be fine. But this guy was a really bad Torbjorn, so I said literally anybody would be more helpful than Torbjorn right now. And he said, "Oh, look at your comp," and I was Lucio. Like I was the only support on the team. You don't get to give me shit for doing more damage than you, getting more eliminations, and still healing the team. Like that's not how that works.
Yeah,
You have to pull your weight before you can talk shit to me.
for sure.
You gotta earn that right. God, that was a fun trip down memory lane.
Yeah, it just gets me pissed off thinking about people that like that. Just too stubborn for their own benefit.
Yeah. That's gonna be fun revisiting that when we start playing Legion. Well, pre-expansion patch and then into Legion.
Yeah.
But hopefully we can convince everybody to come back for that by then, so it won't be too bad. At the very
Maybe.
least, hopefully we'll have 5 mans for questing in dungeons and all that kind of fun
Well,
stuff.
Mike will play, Austin will play, and then us three will play, so we'll have 5.
Yep. Mark's still dropping
mean,
off
with-
the face of
with-
the earth, so
With Legion and stuff, obviously you get the 100 character anyway, so
I think I already used my boost.
Well, you
should go
10 levels.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure if I bought the game
saying
yet.
I didn't.
I have. I bought it back when we were still playing Draenor.
Dude, I loved that game, but what ended up happening was we just got into like a raid team where I just felt like not raiding anymore.
Yeah, because you were carrying most of the weight
Yeah.
on the team.
Well, when you go forwards and then backwards
Yeah.
to be more casual, it doesn't really work out.
Yeah, especially when
It's
you
like, oh,
have.
you're raiding with the best guild on the server. You're top 100 in the U.S. Okay, well, now you're gonna go play with shit-a-lots.
Yep. You literally have hundreds of hours encoded in your brain to do all these other things, and this is just breaking all that because half of these people don't know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it is, man. I've never been able to stay with WoW because the commitment is so hard.
Yeah, it's goddamn. We're talking about being married to one game. If you want to be like at your best for raiding, you have to play WoW and just
Yeah.
WoW for the most part. Because you need your reagents for crafting, for potions, for pots. You need it for food buffs. You need it to have all the best gear that you can at the time, especially if you're like on the edge of progression. You need to have
Yeah,
all
a lot
your
of
reps ground
incentivization.
out, so you have those rep specific items for epics, so that until you get your better like first piece of tier gear, and yeah, that whole process that I'm sure some of you guys are familiar with.
Super fun.
Yay.
Yeah, I mean, itemization is the part I hate. It's just like, oh, should I roll on this Semod upgrade or...
Yeah. Oh. Games. Who knew they could be so much work?
Yeah. Tell me, dude. Should be able to put World of Warcraft on my resume for like.
That was actually something I brought up, and I want to say it was my public speaking class, my last year I was in college, about um, guild leadership and stuff. Actually, people putting it on resumes and being able to prove that it shows leadership qualities. And
Yeah.
there are actually jobs that have taken that, like,
Or even teamwork.
yeah, I'm able to lead a group of people in this task, and perform it successfully. And
Here
it's
are
not
our
something.
achievements.
It's you got to do it in obviously an environment that understands how difficult that really is.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I think that's just about going to wrap up the gaming portion of the
Yeah.
podcast, unless you guys have anything else.
I'm good.
I really liked where that went, though. That was nice.
Yeah, that was an unexpected turn, but it was really nice. Reminiscing.
Fucking Roadhog, dude. All night. That's all I've run into is just fat guys with shotguns that hurt.
Yep. People are calling out for him to be nerfed next. I think his 1-2 punch is too strong.
I don't think he needs to be nerfed. I think his hook needs to be fixed because people get hooked around corners or.
Yeah.
I'm getting hooked through walls and shit, dude. It's a.
Yay, latency. Yeah, so that brings us to the second portion of the podcast that we still don't have a name for, so we just generally call it the design portion. Project U, content creation, all that fun stuff. And today we're kicking off that portion of the podcast with a new tool that Joe discovered the other day called Twitter Dashboard.
Yeah. So Twitter and its lovely product development team have launched Dashboard and Engage. So they're two popular social media topics right now, at least for people who are looking to harness social media as an influencer or develop their content so they can reach a broader audience. Dashboard is a business-facing application, and it's both available for iOS, but mainly web application. Similar to Twitter Analytics, but it's based around a simple metrics-looking theme. So it's a simple UI with a couple of key metrics like likes, engagements, mentions. Some of the things that Twitter wants you to focus on as they develop the platform and become kind of more canoned approach to social media. So that they're kind of trying to teach you how to use Twitter the way that they envision it to be used through these applications, because they highlight influencers, they highlight verified users, and a lot of the things that are kind of investments in Twitter, business promotion, things like that. So
Yeah.
it's kind of teaching you what these people do, who to watch out for, and who to kind of build your content based around as an influencer.
Yeah.
So
One of the things that I had been confused about at first, I was just like, it doesn't, TweetDeck already do this? And yes, they do. And then I realized that this is actually Twitter developing this. I'm just like, oh, they want to add some additional functionality to people who are looking for that direct mention thing to make it even easier to interact with your followers, essentially.
yeah,
Which I think is
it-
awesome.
it minimizes like the noise kind of in a way of Twitter, because they're realizing, and that's what they're trying to do is, they mentioned a while ago that they were developing a better timeline or a more refined timeline with the algorithm, and that was kind of get rid of the organicness of Twitter that was accessible up to this point, besides kind of the promoted ads that you see, and it's kind of a naturally occurring news feed. So a lot of people were kind of put off by that because Twitter is just Twitter because of the newsfeed way. If it's not, it's kind of Facebook in a minimalized form. So I think these are some of the steps they're taking to kind of maybe create a better social experience without having to involve those kind of methods that create a less organic environment. It kind of takes away, maybe you're following a lot of people. Their user base has expanded so much since they launched the initial platform. So you have to really think about how people read those, how they experience it, that you can't be going for 5 hours down your timeline. There has to be a certain amount of timeline that is like a optimized timeline for people to kind of read it, And I'm sure they've studied that, and that's kind of what a lot of this is based on, is figuring out what people are looking for and keeps them engaged in the their audiences.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, and in another note, Facebook has also launched new update to their algorithm, which is implicated more on sharing. So it's a lot of these social sites will be developing more products and services that kind of teach you how to engage the way they want you to for the platform. It's kind of like that Google approach where it's if you want to sell on this site, now that we have so much clout, you need to do it in this fashion, you know?
Mhm.
You need to do promoted content. You need to make relevant content. You need to get users to engage you in organic ways rather than just spam you with simple metrics like likes, you know. Some of the qualms with that are that Facebook comments aren't as important as shares, um,
Mhm.
which, you know, is tough because you could have people that are necessarily don't agree with the topic and they could be commenting on it because they don't agree with it. So
Yeah.
why would you want to promote something that's kind of toxic or an argumentative thing when you could have something that people are actually sharing because they are interested in it?
Yeah,
So I
I
mean,
would also argue that, comments are important because, yeah, people share it and somebody else might see it, but, comments are like a genuine form of engagement, a more genuine, authentic
yeah,
form, I would argue. So comments aren't always, I think the value behind comments might be a misstep here, but we'll see.
yeah. I mean, it's not like they're lessening it, but it's just not going to be as good as shares. But I mean, it kind of makes sense in a way because it's like if you're willing to share it, you're willing to stand behind it and back it and put it under your name.
Mhm.
Whereas if you're willing to comment on it, it could be like as simple as okay, you know what I mean? So you really can't have. I mean, you could definitely gauge responses on a comment, but that's
Yeah.
kind of difficult, you know. Maybe once machine learning comes out more, and I've seen a lot of applications that are actually can write articles and do things based on research. So
Yeah.
once those develop and they have better
Yeah.
kits, we might see some real, AI algorithms, which will be nuts.
Yeah.
But
Unlike Microsoft's, like we were talking about with Rad last week, or
yeah,
Tay.ai, what a mess that was.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's certainly not a decision I would want to make. Is just what's the value of a comment versus what's the value of a share. Maybe they could alter it eventually to where the length of the comment, or maybe even further down the line, the content of the comment will alter the value of it
yeah, and that's
versus a
really I think
share.
the only way they could do that is if it's the content, and they don't really have a way to measure that currently that is
Yeah.
adequate enough to be like, okay, that's a valid comment, you know.
Mm.
So they're going with the thing that is most natively the highest engagement point, not so much the derived thing. Because you can
Yeah.
have some incredibly valuable comments, but you could also have just a shitload of posts,
Yeah.
and it's hard to filter that if you don't have the development yet.
Yeah. That's one of the things I've always found more interesting with Facebook versus Twitter is that people will share shit no problem on Facebook, but Twitter, it's much harder to get that retweet versus like a reply or a like. Even on
Yeah,
Facebook, it's harder to get a comment or a share than a like. But you'll see those. I think it's my main problem with those retweet for this, like for this post is just that likes are almost always going to win unless the retweet something jokey. Just because if you retweet it, it's going to appear on your timeline, and people might not want something appearing on their timeline. But if they like it, then there's a chance that it won't appear on other people's timeline. So that engagement is more private if you just like it. So I think those kind of votes are biased in some occasions. But that's just my own thought personally. There might be research that says I'm completely wrong, but
yeah. I mean, speaking from an experience perspective, like, we were talking about last week, is like how computers have become, that people, like users have become less aware of the computer itself and more the application as an extension of a human, you
mm,
know? Like I heard a quote is the other day on this Disruptor video from InVision. It's a new documentary about design and content building and how design has to be thought about in this era. It's you can't have a designless world.
yeah,
It's that's your most important topic. And it was that you don't click humans. When you're going to identify people, when you're reading about people, you want to have an interactive sense of that person, of that storyline, of that product. So you want to be able to somehow touch it, maybe not physically or tangibly, but in a way that elicits that emotional response. And I think maybe as like these things develop, people become more aware of the space they have within those artificial areas. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So Facebook, there's more real estate, where on Twitter there's less,
Yeah.
and I think people can kind of measure that, even if it's subconsciously, they realize it in a sense, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and that's why, like you're saying, like they don't want to see it on their timeline because it's more prominent. It's a lot more prominent when you have a tweet that's a smaller character amount and it sits in a smaller column. You know, that's kind
Yeah.
of how it's set up. So you get that kind of experience from it. Whereas Facebook is just a jambalaya of bullshit
A
and
mess. Ugh.
dog videos, you know,
Yeah.
like, so,
Dogs and food
yeah,
and sappy news videos that have been reposted time and time again.
absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I I always laugh on Facebook when I see like friends of my parents liking weird stuff
Yeah.
at night, like, you know, just like, dude, we can see this, you know.
I love that. It's just like you realize people can see things that you like, right?
Yeah. So, especially during those off hours,
Yeah.
you know, it's more heightened. So, but yeah, so I mean, it'll be cool to see those things. Some people are arguing that those things will replace Hootsuite and Buffer, and I would argue that they absolutely will not, because I think although they do have the ability to schedule tweets in, you know, the certain apps that they're developing, they
Mhm.
don't have a running timeline or a running schedule, which is my favorite part about those scheduling apps, where you just submit content into a queue and it disperses based on your, you know, your post times.
Mhm.
Um, Also, you know, the way I look at it is I've been a Buffer subscriber for over a year now. I paid $10 a month to use it, and for me, that value is so much more. It's probably, you know, 2 grand more at least, because I've used a lot of the resources that are available for free to not only develop content for work for myself, but also a lot of their blogs. I've learned so much about social media just
Yeah.
reading. I've learned a lot about applications used for productivity. I've learned about a lot about self-awareness. You know, kind of developed my own blogging techniques by reading their blogs, and it's just infinitely valuable. The
Yeah.
services that companies like that provide that actually care about the user
Yeah.
and uh, provide a value outside of that of the initial service.
Yeah. I would completely agree. If you're, a starting content creator and are overwhelmed by social media, at least in a business sense, even though you've been using it personally your entire life, yes, they're two different things. Yes, there are better ways to get engagement, and absolutely go to Buffer's blog site, read everything you can. You're going to get so much good advice from their website. It's pretty much invaluable for anybody who's responsible for social media management, even if it's your own personal feed. There's so much you can learn from just spending a few minutes on that site, and highly, highly recommend Buffer's blog.
Yeah, I mean it's incredible, and the people I've engaged with, a lot of the people I've been fortunate enough to speak to, you know, some of them through Twitter and through Slack and other means, and they're just really helpful. A
Yeah.
lot of the users in the community itself are also very helpful, and they kind of draw that kind of people
Yeah.
by being those kind of people. You know, you kind of involve yourself with the people that you want to be,
Mm.
and that's kind of what's occurring, and I think that's really awesome.
Yeah.
You know, I've done some Hootsuite stuff. I know how to use it. I mean, I don't love the actual layout of it. Um, and I went to a conference recently, like a Hootsuite online conference, and the production value was just not there. I mean, it wasn't. For
Yeah.
me, it was really hard to sit through a grainy, videoless conference from a company that, you know, tries to be a influencer in media. It
Yeah.
just doesn't make sense to me.
It's definitely a misstep because it shows a disconnect.
Yeah, totally. It's like, how can you, you know, ask us to be your audience if you aren't providing the value that
Yeah.
is demanded through other services?
If you're not showing me you're up to date, that reflects poorly on your product. Even if your product looks great, if otherwise that support is lacking in any means, it does not look great for the company at all.
Yeah. And I mean, their product does look good, and their service does work well. It's not my preference.
Mhm.
I like Buffer because it's a little more streamlined.
Yeah.
Um, but I just thought like something like that should be a huge value play kind of turned out crappy.
Mm.
and it was very distracting. It was.
Especially for you, who's, on like the cusp of design. You have an eye for just like, this is old, this is outdated. This shouldn't be here, that kind of stuff. So I imagine it was that much more
Yeah,
detracting for you.
and I've been a part of a good amount of production as far as video and things like that too, where I would know what that looks like. But even in the sense that they don't even prepare a visual for you, you're just looking at like almost what it would be like a pop-out player on a website, and it's like, really, a pop-out player? Is that we're gonna all sit here and pretend to get? And there's people that I'm assuming did get value from it, but they don't know any
Yeah.
better. That there is a better experience out there. There's a better
Uncultured
solution.
swine.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know.
Interesting.
Not being a hater, but I felt like it could have been done better, and I would have definitely seen more value in Hootsuite, and because I don't usually promote Hootsuite because I just don't love it, but that was like one of those things where I had the opportunity for me to open up to it,
Yeah.
and I still was not really into it.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. I've tried to use, or not tried to use, I have used Hootsuite before, and I found myself going back to Buffer.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of
I like it
clunky.
more. Yeah.
So
I get it if you're not really in it for the scheduling. It's nice if you want to get like that interaction like we were talking about before, but even TweetDeck's better for that. So
yeah. And I mean, even in the terms of horizontal services, if you look at Buffer, they have Pablo,
yeah.
which they've been developing, which is a really nice application. There's a lot of web apps that are kind of developing out of that same context, but are charging for them or are not equally as good. And this one is free. They
Pablo's
also
super nice.
have
For those people who don't know,
Yeah.
you want to explain what Pablo is real quick?
Yeah, so Pablo is like a simple image creator, and it's almost like a WYSIWYG creator. But what they've done is they've pulled images from various public domain sites like Unsplash, which is a project of Crew, which is another favorite of mine, and Pexels, and different photo applications that have really nice HD photos that you can use for free. So what it does is it takes simple Google Web Fonts and it puts them on top of images, and also has a small library of effects and digital things you can do to enhance that or the readability of your topipic.
You can also upload your own photo, which is nice, and still use their web fonts.
Yeah.
Pied Piper? No, that's what we're talking about, right?
Yeah, Pied Piper.
Not there.
But yeah, so it's a really cool tool, and it's free, and I swear by it. And all there's like Canva and things like that are cool and work similarly. I think Pablo is awesome because it's Buffer.
Yeah, it keeps you in that Buffer ecosystem.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why they do it. But it works really well. And
yeah,
I mean, I made a video about it on my initial YouTube, and a lot of the changes that I suggested were made. I'm not saying that they were my suggestions exclusively, but they are suggestions that were made by myself, and they were changed, and it runs a lot better, I think. But they've just constantly dialing in on the best experience for users, and that brings us to Respond, which is an addition to Buffer that allows you to engage in a different way. It's more of a streamlined Google-looking card system, where a tweet comes in and then you have cards that follow up as you respond. So it tracks your conversations. It focuses your engagement directly on people that mention you or interact with you.
which is cool.
Yeah, and I haven't used it in a while. I have to claim that. But when it was in beta, it was frickin' sexy for what it was, and it's a lot like what Twitter's doing now with their product development. So it's no surprise that Buffer was ahead of the game on that one. Just having a really simple platform to respond to users.
Yeah. I've seen a little bit of it now on the stream because they put out a short video about it, and it's nice. It looks interesting. It's almost like an inbox setup too, which is pretty neat.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of
organize of it, whereas like TweetDeck's just a stream of mentions, and you can lose something even there.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of that Google material design thing that we're talking about. How they kind of just fold out naturally, Yeah. I mean, it's not to that same extent where it's, but it's a very nice interface to browse and engage. So.
Very cool. So yeah, if you need help with social media, check out Buffer.
Or send me an email or an inbox, or I'll be one
Yeah.
to help you too. So
Send Joe a tweet. He's well versed in the arts of social media.
yeah, I mean it's a practice because it's one of those things where you constantly have to be aware of what's new and
Yeah.
how to deal with changes and how to
Always
evolve.
testing.
Yeah, that's kind of the lean startup model, you know.
Yep.
Learn, build, test.
And test again, and then test again. And then look at that data and test again based off that data.
Yep.
It's great. Yeah, I think that brings us to the end of the design portion. Unless you had anything else, Joe.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah, I think that was pretty cool for all of you young startup content creators out there, and people who just like social media as well. Some really exciting stuff coming down the pipeline, and we hope we helped at least put an eye on it for you, helped you out a little bit, give you a little wink, wink, nudge, nudge. There will be links for these things in the description below this video on YouTube when it goes live, so you'll be able to check them out there as well. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to the 4th episode of the Left Click Culture Podcast. My name again is Chris. I am a variety streamer on Twitch and occasionally upload a video to YouTube. We'll see if I get better about that.
Hey man, you've been doing these videos.
I've took over the responsibility for editing these videos. So you can most likely expect this episode to be up on YouTube probably Saturday is when I'll have time to do it. And if you're watching live with us, thank you so much for watching live. We are live on Twitch with the podcast Thursdays at 8 p.m. generally. We started a little late tonight because Nick had some stuff he had to take care of. But 8 o'clock is our official starting time that we're shooting for. You can find us at Left Click on Twitter at LeftClicked and at leftclickculture.com. And you can find me specifically at the link down below, right there. Twitter is Chris Butler II, and on Twitch I am cbutler2067. So feel free to join me there. I should note, while we're pimping ourselves and advertising our own stuff, I am hosting a community stream immediately following this. Most likely be Jackbox, I think, is winning right now in the poll, or GTA PC. I'll have to ping everybody and see what they want to play
your favorite.
for this. Yeah. Yeah, so if you want to stick around and play some games, we'll be doing that on this channel next. And I'll pass it off to Nick.
I'm Nick. You can follow me on Twitter at Dillpickles, DILPIICKLES. I don't really do anything except usually tweet Game of Thrones related tweets or other
Or random lines from Silicon Valley to
stuff.
me.
That too. Twitter's where I do my thing right now. You know, we'll see going forward.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Cool. Joe.
Cool. Hey, my name's Joe. It has been and still is Joe. Thanks for coming out tonight. We really appreciate it. If you have any comments or suggestions, please leave them down below this video, and we'll absolutely respond to you.
Yes.
We're always on social, so engage us, and we will be right back with you, helping you with anything you need that we can help with, or directing you to somewhere where you can get some awesome information to learn how to do things. Because we're all about self-learning and entrepreneurship. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it is Joe Alonji FX, so that will be somewhere in the video and description. So check that out, and thanks for coming out. And it's Chris.
Thanks, you guys, for joining me again for the podcast. I've actually got those very nice new updated nameplates on the overlay, so our Twitter handles are right there. And then on the YouTube version of the video, the annotations will now take you directly to our personal Twitter accounts. So there's that. Makes it that much easier for you guys. To pimp out Left Click Culture a little bit more, we are a gaming and design focused site focused on helping out content creators, promoting community, all that kind of fun stuff. On our YouTube channel, you can expect VODs of the podcast, and in addition to design videos that Joe does, and then eventually we're going to start doing first plays, which are first impression gameplay videos featuring various members of the team. And our YouTube handle is Left Click Culture. Just checked that the other day, so that's up and running. And on Twitter, once again, we are at LeftClicked, and Twitch is also Left Click Culture. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Your support is always appreciated. I'm starting to lose my ability to talk, so this is the perfect time to end the podcast. Have a good night.